Hey guys, welcome back to Milking Stool Ministries. I am coming at you a la natural this week, not because of the readings, but because we own the most sinful turtle in the land. So I spent the afternoon wrestling with him instead of properly preparing myself, which meant that I was covered in grass and tree bark, and that is not gonna work sitting here with y'all. So you are gonna get to see God's creation in me, of me, with no added bonus, which also means my hair is going to be like this probably the entire time. I was really challenged by this week, I realized, probably or mostly, I guess, because I knew what it was like to want to be a cool kid and to not be a cool kid when I was growing up. And I so badly wanted to experience the things that I could see them experiencing so close to me. And so I realized that sort of created a chip on my shoulder sometimes, and that created a humbleness in me sometimes, and that I have the option still to choose. Am I going to be humble? Am I going to be foul? Am I going to be gracious when those opportunities are extended to me, or am I going to take them for granted? And so Paul just really challenged me over and over again in these chapters to realize that that humility and gratefulness are so important, and that no one's better than anyone else. Even though I'm comparing and I think someone's better than me, God isn't operating on the same sort of economy as me. I don't think that he operates on our financial system, our familial system, our educational system. I don't think he cares about any of the things we care about. I don't think he cares about our roots, the family we came from, and whether it's perfect or not. I don't think he cares about the financial statement we have, and does it include a house being owned or rented? Does it include an apartment? Does it not include anything at all? I don't think he cares about our resume and how many sort of career building opportunities we've grasped or not grasped. I think that he wants to see us do things with our lives, and we're all going to do something a little bit different, and the blessing in it is that not one of us is more important because of what we've done or didn't do. We are all important because of what Christ did for us on the cross. And in doing that on the cross, he provided us with these character traits that we get to participate in. Granted, we are participating in them broken. We are not ever gracious or ever loving or ever patient or ever honest in the way that Christ was to us, but we do get glimpses of that. We do get opportunities to participate in that, and at times we succeed, and without Christ sort of bridging that gap between God and us, we wouldn't have those opportunities. We wouldn't get to be a vehicle for the glory and the kingdom of God, and we get to be that. I like to think of it as we are a vehicle with no power, and so God came and dropped an engine in and said, don't mess it up. And Adam and Eve went and did. And so Christ died on the cross for our sin, and he is the fuel that continues to push us. He is the energy source that powers our engine. And without him, our vehicle goes sort of rogue, or our vehicle just completely breaks down because we don't have any direction. Well, we don't have any fuel, we don't have any energy, but then we don't have a direction in which to move. We don't have a way to sort of continue to hunger and need to fill ourselves. So that is just a really exciting thing, the idea that we get to participate and take on the traits and characteristics of Christ because he died for us. Not because we're any kind of important, not because we do things, not because we do things right or wrong, not because our resume is the best or because we help out the most at church, but because of Christ. And this is challenging because that means that we're not the center of the world or the center of this whole story. And that's hard because we like to be the center of everything, which sort of doubles us back on the idea of we want to be the best. We want to tell the best story. We want to have the best story. We want to share the best story. And that is just not something, that story is not ours. That story is not crafted by us. That story is not willed or changed by us, but it is completely God's. And that's like a cup of humble coffee, piece of humble pie for you there. How about that? That said, we sort of loop around to the third question, the third idea of the balance between law and faith. And this is something I have struggled with all of my life, the better part of my faith. Mostly because I love rules, and I love them in a non-traditional sense, in that I take comfort in following some of them, and I take comfort in pushing the boundaries on a lot of them. That is definitely not an ideal situation for a Christian woman, but I do, if I'm honest. I realize that I like to test boundaries, and God made me that way. I'm not really sure why yet, but he did. And so so that is just something the balance is constant. Faith is something that I have had all my life, something that I'm sort of just now learning to question and push and develop into a greater thought process than just, I'm a Christian and I believe in God and I love him and Jesus died on a cross. I know the basic tenets of what I believe, but the greater details, things sort of addressing maybe divorce or homosexuality, addressing politics and women's position, women's role in the church and in the home and, in the family power structure. Those things are definitely things I'm working through, as y'all probably know. And that's fun to do, but it's not something I've done for a long time. And so I am definitely working to strike the balance between faith and law, or faith and acts. And it's something that is is for surely going to be a lifelong journey, but it's also something that I have found that I take great joy in. And so I just really encourage you to find a way to work through things, to work at that balance in a way that is enjoyable to you. And there's a lot of different ways to do that, but just to continue to be persistent in that pursuit. And then the verse of the week this week is actually from John chapter, I'm going the wrong way, sorry. 3, verse 20. And it says, "Therefore, no one will be declared righteous in God's sight by the works of the law. Rather, through the law, we become conscious of our sin." I just really encourage you this week to be conscious of your sin, to be conscious of where temptation lies, and realize that the law is what sort of magnifies that for you, what gives you perspective and allows you to act. Other than that, I just encourage y'all to have a great week, and I will see you next week.